will never waver. Justice Breonna Taylor, salute Chuck and Flavor. Feel the same anger since Radio Raheem died. Black power to the people, push forward pride.
Fighting power like it's an octo. Born to fight, I made it off the block though. Thought he had a gun and he was black, that's the combo. The police killed George having a convo. They killed Malcolm X, they killed Dr. King. They gave us guns and dope, they wanna stop our kings. Trying to erase our history, stop and think. History class ain't tell us about Juneteenth. Cops don't give a damn about a Negro. Pull a trigger, kill a nigga, he's a key, bro. Living life on welfare. The last one who cared was Obamacare, round 12. Nose kinda bloody, gotta keep fighting. Trump through the North Korea. They respect violence. If you ain't trying to have your city on fire for some respect on our name, we come from gold and diamonds.
Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! We got to fight the powers that be. Elvis was a hero the most, but he never meant to me. You see, straight up racist, the sucker was simple and plain. Cause I'm black and I'm proud, I'm ready, I'm hyper, I'm amped. Most of my heroes on a piano stamp. Sample all look back, you look and find nothing but Redding for 400 years if you check.
Don't worry, be happy.
Was a #1 jam. Damn if I said you could slap me right here. Get it.
Let's get this party started.
Right on, come on, what we got to say? Power to the people, know the lay. Make everybody see in order to fight the powers that be.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a wet Monday, a WAM. Welcome to the Ask Mathis Show. I'm your host, Reginald Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother, Wildman Teddy T, a.k.a. Baron the Mound Builder. What's good?
What's happening? This is the last day of summer. Tomorrow is the fall season. Whatever you're going to do, do it today.
You heard him? Unless you're in ATL, and ATL is wide open. They wide open.
Hey, you know they're taking Carnival to Atlanta.
Hey, they wide open in Atlanta, bro.
Imagine that. Carnival is going to be in Atlanta.
It's just one of them things, man. Woo. You know, shout out, man. I got lots of people in the ATL. So I just, wish you guys safety and good health, man. Good health. But I heard some promising news today. The school board of Miami-Dade County gave a press conference, and, in the last few weeks, the positive rate for COVID-19 has been under 5%, which is, one of the gateways that school board was looking for. And as such, Miami is announcing that its teachers will resume in-school teaching back on the 28th of September, and that the children will resume, those who opted to be in school learning will follow another week, October 5th, I believe. So, so things are starting to pick up, in a positive direction. It's definitely going to be a new normal. Over 40,000 ventilation units have been changed or will be changed by the time the children go back. So a lot of the concerns that the parents and the teachers have are being handled, looked at, processed. Didn't hear many complaints last week, after moving from the K-12 company to traditional Zoom and Microsoft programs. So seems like folks is getting it together. I was watching my kids today, before I left, and just watching them, participate and learn. And the kids, they're going to adjust. Just like when we was in school, you're going to adjust to whatever the situation is.
That's it.
And unfortunately, man, we adjusting here in Miami to these Dolphins, man. These Dolphins, bro, it's just, they break your heart, man. They break your heart. Losing to Buffalo 31-28 at home.
It was a good game, though. They came back. I thought they was going to pull it off.
Man, close only counts in horseshoes, bro. Let me give a shout out to my homie Shane, man. Wayan, if you're listening. Wayan has been the ultimate Buffalo Bills fan. That's the only Buffalo Bill fan I know outside of Buffalo. Uh-oh.
Because I'm from Buffalo, bro. I gotta. I mean, I rock with the Dolphins
you see,
real
we
hard.
done bought them out.
I rock with the
You
Dolphins.
see how we done bought them out.
I rock with the Dolphins.
We done bought them out the corner. We done bought them out the shadows.
When the Bills go ahead and they play against Miami, you know what I'm saying? My family or somebody, they down here because they rivals. So I got to rock with the fam. You know what I'm saying? I'm with the family. Other than that, I'm rocking with the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying?
And that's from our non-Negro friend.
Ah, here you go.
DJ Newkirk.
Right, DJ Newkirk.
He's Arabic.
Right, exactly, man. Like, you supporting the Bills, man.
Hey, I'm from Buffalo, man. That's the only thing we had.
Ain't nobody from Buffalo.
Ain't
nobody from Buffalo.
That's it. Other than that and snow.
Ain't nobody from Buffalo, man. So, shout out to that, bruh. And what a tragedy that occurred on yesterday.
Yeah.
South Florida native, St. Thomas Aquinas alum, James White, running back for the New England Patriots, was in a car accident. Well, no, I'm sorry. His father, Tyrone White, Captain Tyrone White, is a captain on the police force here in Miami-Dade, along with his mother. His mother's in intensive care, and his dad passed away, yesterday. And James White was told about an hour and a half before the game, bro. He was getting ready for the game, and he was told, and he couldn't play for obvious reasons. So
yeah, definitely.
Our hearts and prayers, man, go out to James White, man, which I know, that's it's so not similar in terms of how it occurred, but just the level of pride when I think about Sean Taylor and Sean Taylor's passing and having a father who was the chief of police for Florida City. And so having someone like Tyrone White as a captain, that's a very high-ranking official where he probably didn't have to work, but he was probably so proud, and that, I'm sure he raised James a certain way to be, and I'm sure he was so proud of his son, and it was, going to support. I'm sure they was probably going to watch a game watch, to probably go watch the Patriots play yesterday and get ready for his son who, scored a touchdown the last time the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl when Tom Brady was there. And Tom Brady gave a very nice, fitting tribute to James White. He called him his brother, lifelong brother, as a former Patriot player. And hearts and prayers, man. That's tragic way, to learn, man. Not only your hero, your father, your first hero dies tragically, but your mother is fighting for her life. So hearts and prayers, man, out to that brother, man. And lets you know that no matter where you are, no matter who you are,
how much money you got,
two things you can always count on: death and taxes.
Yep.
Death and taxes, no matter who you are. And speaking of death, man, of course, we lost a giant. We lost a giant on Friday during Rosh Hashanah. And if anybody knows anything about Rosh Hashanah and the Jewish religion, if you die during Rosh Hashanah, you are given a special title of a TZ, a Zagiyat. Look that up if you have time, Teddy. Look up person. It's TZA, and look up Rosh Hashanah, and that's what they're saying. It means a person, a very holy person, a person of goodwill, and you can just see all the outpouring of emotion and sympathy in D.C. outside of the Supreme Court, flags lowered to half staff, and just her chair in the Supreme Court is represented. It's draped so that no one can sit in that chair. And you're talking about Justice Ruth Gator. Beta Ginsburg, who was, the second female appointed to the Supreme Court, the highest court in the United States. And before that, folks remember her now, the young people remember her now as the notorious RBG, an ode to Notorious B.I.G., because both of them are from Brooklyn. And, she liked that. But, this lady was fighting, man. It seems like she was starting to get, like, even though they referred to her as Young Biggie, she was acting more like Tupac because she kept having these bouts with cancer. She kept, in your 80s, man, it's like she get, when she beat it, come back, beat it, come back. So this lady was just suffering and suffering and suffering, and to see her go through what she was going through just to try to hold on to November, and she got as far as she could. She made it, 40 days out, and she even dictated a letter in her final moments, in her final days, saying it is her dying wish that the next president, whoever that is, be the one to, whoever wins the election, let them be the one to fill my position. And if you look at, we talk about it often back in 2016 with President Barack Obama, when Antonin Scalia died suddenly in February. Barack Obama nominated Merrick Garland, who had previously been, confirmed by the Senate, like 98 to nothing, been vetted. And oftentimes when a Democrat was, had the ability to nominate someone to the Supreme Court, the Republicans would always say, well, why don't you look at Merrick Garland? Why don't you look at Merrick Garland? He's a moderate, nice, follow the law type of guy. But when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland, then all of a sudden these same guys who was like, go with Merrick Garland, he'll be a great choice, they wouldn't even give him a meeting, a hearing, a vote, none of that, saying that, hey, when we're in an election year, when you're a lame duck president and you got an election coming up, you ought to leave it to the people to decide, right? So, of course, what you think is going on right now, DJ Newkirk, do you think the same people back in 2016 who were saying leave it to the president, leave it to the electors, what do you think they saying now?
They saying, let's go ahead and get somebody in before this new election.
That's exactly what they're saying.
That's crazy.
But the thing is, they're going to get away with it.
You don't think so?
And they are going to get away with it. They are going to get away with it for the simple reason that Jeffrey Tobin was saying today. Democrats are wimps, and Democrats are weak. They are weak wimps. And they're going to come out there and cry about it, but and not going to do anything about it. Say, you ain't going to do nothing, like the guy that be with Mayweather. When the guy was out there talking like, yeah, in my younger days, I would have, and the guy just came and looked at him and said, man, you ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to bust a grape. And that's how those Democrats are, man. They going to come out there, they going to cry, they going to say, we're going to do this, we'll shake a fist at you, and all that. But ain't nobody going to change. Nobody's going to change. They're going to ram that Supreme Court justice through. You're going to see a record time. Now, the only issue is going to be whether or not they vote before the election or they vote after the election. I think they're probably going to vote after the election, but they're going to hold the hearings probably before the election. Now, they're going to hold hearings for a Supreme Court justice that's no rush, no emergency, but there's been a bill called the Hearing $75. That's all you're going to get. But yet, they got time to bring all these hypocrites back to D.C. to hold hearings, for this particular justice, and throw more of a monkey wrench in it. They're talking about appointing a woman. So Trump is basically saying, and I'm not, on this one, I'm not mad at Trump. Everybody know who Trump is.
Right.
Everybody know he gonna do what he does. Can't nobody be mad at him. And he's not doing anything different than what President Obama did back in 2016. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president has the right to nominate someone to the bench. But then it's up to the Senate to offer advice and consent, and then to hold a vote. So the United States Senate chose back in 2016 not to offer their advice and consent or to hold a vote. So I'm not going to hold this one on President Trump. The fact, he's doing the same thing that President Obama did. Now, if he was smart, what I think he would do is he would nominate a black female. Mm-hmm. He would nominate somebody that
they wouldn't expect.
That folks, and that's what President Obama tried to do when he nominated Merrick Garland. He was like, okay,
can't say no to his.
You can't say no to this guy. You guys already approved him. He came 98-0, and you guys are asking me when it was time for me, when he nominated Elena Kagan or Sotomayor, the two Supreme Court justices that President Obama appointed. They was always saying, why don't you offer Merrick Garland? What about Merrick Garland? So he came in and said, aha, I'm going to give y'all what y'all looking for. I'm going to nominate him. And they still was like, that ain't good enough. So the hypocrisy is so there that now it's like everybody come out of your costume. Everybody come out of your costume and just say straight up, we won. To the victor go the spoils, and we're going to ride this till the wheels fall off. And right now, we have the numbers in the Senate. We have the person in the White House to do what we want. And that's what we're going to do. And what you're going to do about it. That's what this thing is. Now, the leading contender for the position is, she has 7 children. She's a devout Catholic, and you're talking about a huge, swift change, a swing in the court. Right now, the court is pretty much divided, 5-4, really 4-4, with Chief Justice Roberts breaking the tie. And we already know Chief Justice Roberts is already a conservative, but he's been trying to keep it together. So it was by one vote that Obamacare was able to withstand, and that was Chief Justice Roberts. And they already thought they had enough, but Chief Justice Roberts came along and found a reason to vote for Obamacare.
He's a good dude. I like him.
He's an institutionalist.
Mm-hmm.
Chief Justice Roberts is somebody that sees the need for the court to have the appearance of propriety, that people need to have faith and confidence that at the Supreme Court, the right decisions are going to be made.
And it's not to do with politics.
And right now, if you're looking at how many Democrats or how many Republicans you have on the Supreme Court, that's really going to undermine another institution, which this whole presidency, these whole 4 years have been about the undermining of the institutions. Like, people don't have faith in the CDC. In our lifetime, can we think of when we could not take the word of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control? Like, never in our lifetime did we think that, it doesn't matter what, the Constitution says. This guy was like, nah, I don't believe that if you're born in America, you're automatically a citizen. Everybody doesn't agree with that. It's like, no, bro, everybody does agree. I mean, that's what's in the Constitution, bro. You can't just rock and just come in there and just make it up as you go. That's what we have going on. And if it ends up being 6-3 on the Supreme Court, it's
We in
gonna be
trouble.
it's gonna be really, 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 really on. So what are some of the things that they're saying that the Democrats can do? Some of the stuff that they're talking about what they're gonna do, which we know they not gonna do. So the last time we really had a president who was really, really upset with the Supreme Court, that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he got elected, trying to bring the country out of the Great Depression, when he was setting up what he called his New Deal, he was reaching some, bad decisions in his opinion in the Supreme Court. So because of that, what he decided to do is to pack the courts. And what do they mean by packing the courts, DJ Newkirk? Packing the court essentially means that we're going to add more justices to the Supreme Court because there's nothing in the Supreme Court that says you only can have 9 justices. There have been times where there have been fewer justices. There have been times when there have been more justices. There have been times that there have been even justices. So one of the arguments that people are trying to make right now is that, well, we know that this election is going to be contested. We know that there's going to be litigation, so you're going to need to have the full court in place to handle the litigation that comes in there. But then nobody's saying what the counter is. If this justice gets on the court, how can this justice decide the case? They need to recuse themselves from the case, which some of the justices do already. They'll recuse themselves, meaning that they will not be heard on the case if they have a conflict or if it was something that touched them. So, it's just the hypocrisy, man. It's like, as much as I love politics and as much as I love watching political shows, I could only watch a little bit this weekend because I was just waiting to see the hypocrisy after showing all the clips of 2016 where who's who in the Republican Party. Even Donald Trump, when he was running, he issued a statement saying, let the people decide. You got an election coming up. Whoever wins the presidency should appoint the next, and that's on the ballot. The Supreme Court is on the ballot. Mitch McConnell, 2016. And, he's a lame duck. Elections coming up, even though that was almost a year to the election. No, let the people decide. Everybody's saying that, but now all of a sudden, they're making up stuff. So don't make up nothing. Just say we won, you lost. That's what we're gonna do. And when y'all in power, y'all do what y'all want to do. That's that's what's going on, man. It's just sad to see because what's on the ballot, in addition to, an autocrat, a tyrant, in addition to that is abortion. Abortion is on the ballot. Even though overwhelming people feel that Roe v. Wade, is good law, that was decided way back in 1972, let it be what it is. Right. 47% are pro-life. 53% still feel that, abortion is, it should remain legal. So abortion is certainly on the ballot. So as I think about it, and the older that I get, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but maybe about 20 years ago, abortion might have been something that I was going to be fighting for really, really hard.
Right.
Maybe about 20 years ago. I'm just keeping it.
Keeping it 100.
Just in case.
We keep it 1,000.
Exactly.
We keep it 1,000 on Ask Mathis.
Just in case.
Just in case. About 20 years ago, I'm like, hey, but, nowadays I look at it slightly different. The way I look at it now is nobody's really, like, pushing for abortion. Like, nobody's just running out there with a T-shirt like, hey, I had an abortion. Like, guess what I'm doing today? Nobody's really on that. And I agree with many of the Democrats who are Catholics because, if you're a Catholic, then you understand, birth control. Like, they don't even take birth control. So that's why they're saying that the lady who's leading got 7 children because, the Catholics, they don't even, the birth control. I don't even know if they're allowed to do the pull-out method. Like, I don't even know.
Keep it in.
Like,
keep it
you know what I'm saying?
Keep
I
it
remember taking a class at a church convention back in the day, and I remember a guy, I took this class, and he called, he pointed to something in the Bible and the scripture called spilling the seed, which was basically saying you're not even supposed to masturbate. You know what I'm saying? Just there's a reason why there's a separation of church and state, because everybody don't believe what everybody else believes. Some people look at, I remember the Surgeon General, the first African-American female Surgeon General that we had, she was out there advocating masturbation as a form of birth control for young kids. And that was a big deal. It was like, what? What are you doing? What do you mean? And because if you go to scripture, you have some people call it spilling the seed, meaning that you should only have sex for purposes of procreation. For procreation. Right. So, you get into that, but then you just look at what's going on. I mean, so what about Pornhub? What about all these gratuitous sites and folks that's just showing it all off? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the hypocrisy of the country is just so crazy that we really don't need to be legislating that. We don't need to legislate morality. We don't need to legislate morality. The decisions that people make, especially those economic decisions. When you're talking about somebody that's in college or in graduate school that's trying to go on with their life and they had too much to drink and then they end up, you know what I'm saying, and they don't remember who they ended up with. And then it's like 2-3 weeks later, and it's like, I was at Freaknik, and Teddy T said he don't mind seconds, and that was the last thing I remember. And it's 3 weeks later, I'm back at the crib. I don't even remember these guys, and I just missed my time. What do I do? What do I do?
To me, it's definitely a woman's decision, because that's her body. I mean, if you're with the person who was the partner in crime, then, you should at least get his consent. But at the end of the day, it's really up to the woman because she's the one that's got to bear it, carry it, do everything. So
right, and that's the thing, bruh. Like, on the one hand, you like respect life, pro-life. Conception, life begins at conception, right? But then you pro-death penalty. You feel me? Like, you pro-death penalty, or, you got folks whose unemployment benefits are going to run out this week, right? They're going to run out this week, but you like, hey, let's just see what happens. Like, you can't just see what happens every day when a person has to eat to survive. A person has to eat to survive. Like, you just got folks who just going about their business. They're going about their business, but now it is so important to come back to Washington, D.C., to put in a judge that's going to sit in D.C. and that's going to tell everybody what to do with their bodies, to tell women what to do with their bodies. A woman is like, man, I already have 4 or 5 kids. I'm just, getting on with my life. I'm just starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and, I'm pregnant. Like, that is like Teddy said. That is a decision. That is a decision that should go with the woman, because you're talking about, unless the government is going to ride with you for 21 years and say, have that child, and we with you for 21 years, whatever it may be, or we willing to take that child and raise that child, just, I mean, it's a lot of things. But as I get older, I'm not going to impose my will or my judgment or my evolution on the issue. Where I've evolved on the issue, and like I said, I don't want to, come across this as hypocritical, because there was definitely that was a part of birth control. Just being 1,000 as we do, that was a part of birth control. If something happened,
I thought about it
You
when
know
I
what I'm
was
saying?
younger. You know what I'm saying? When you're younger, you don't, you know what I mean? You don't have the money, you know, when you don't grow up like privileged.
And you
You
talking
know?
about $600 to come up with them $600 for them to go to the clinic
Yeah. That's
versus child support for the rest of the time, and it's not a person that you trying to
it's
be
just
with.
25,000 to have a baby.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just one of those things, man. It's like, okay, you got to have a more holistic approach. If the government is going to get that involved with the woman's body, they got to have a more comprehensive, holistic approach. That if a woman says, listen, I want to terminate this pregnancy, and the government is going to prevent me from terminating that pregnancy, then the government has to agree to fund this child or something. You know what I mean? You can't just say, you got to have this child, and now you stuck with the child, because folks not going to stop having sex. They not going to stop having sex. So you can't just be there on the front end. You got to be there throughout.
I mean, if it's a situation to where, because when a woman has a baby, she gives it to the state with a birth certificate anyway, you know? So if that's the case, then they go ahead and have the baby and give the baby to the state.
But that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to come with some legislation. But that's what I mean. Like, I'm not going to, me personally, but like, I don't want to be a hypocrite on the matter, because where I am in my life right now, you know what I'm saying? I got a 2-month-old. You know what I'm saying? I got a 2-month-old right now. And it's different for me. It's different for me. So I'm not going to impose my judgment on somebody else in the decision that when I was in law school 30 years ago, I'm like, man, hey, wait, I got my whole life ahead of me. Like, I don't necessarily want to do this, and then that means, well, you should have been making better choices and all. It's just too many. It's too many things. It's too many things, and it's too many people that's gonna hit and clear it. They're gonna hit and go, and lead a woman. And what you're doing is you're creating an underclass of women, because women are the ones that's gonna stay there with the kids. The daddy. You know what I'm saying? The dad gonna do what he does. Dad gonna go out there and clear it and do whatever and come back and, might pay a little child support here or whatever. But that's a cycle. So that's one thing that's on the ballot. But again, that I don't lose sleep over that. Like back in the day, I may have lost sleep over, oh man, ain't gonna be no more abortions. What you gonna do? I'm not gonna lose sleep over that. Because that's not where I am.
I think if you take away abortions, then that make it more where people got to be more responsible. It's just like going to church. If I could do this on Saturday and go to church and be repentant for my sins, and I could come back out on Monday.
So what about the plan B? Do you think the plan B? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
I
whole
can of worms. I've used the plan B.
We opening up.
I ain't gonna front. We used the plan B, and then actually used the plan B, and the plan B never worked and didn't work.
Well, you must have did it outside of 72 hours.
No, man, it was 72 hours.
See, it's really for. I said that on purpose. It's supposed to be 24 hours, 48 at the most. If you go 72 hours,
it's a 72-hour pill. It was within that time.
72 is the.
48-hour pill, excuse me.
Right, it's 48 hours. 48 hours. I said 72.
He done threw you up.
The third day.
You done messed up, right?
We can push you one more day, baby.
No, but I'm just saying.
Immaculate conception.
Damn near.
But I mean, I think it's better that if you can't have an abortion, then you can't have sex. You know what I'm saying? Like that should. And that, because to me, that's always the cop-out. If we have sex, you can have an abortion. But if there's no abortion, and you got to have a baby, and that's going to make more girls like, hold up, wait a minute. You got to do something, or we got to wait.
You think so?
You saying? That's what I'm saying, Teddy. You're saying, and that will be the case for some, but it's not going to be the case for all, especially when you're talking, let's look at, again, let's not look at it from our perspective, because we older. We done did
civilized.
We done did the do. We done did the do.
We civilized.
But we talking about that high school senior, that high school junior. You know what I mean? That we talking about that first that first girlfriend, her first experience, you her first boyfriend, and y'all done start, hunching. Y'all done start doing those things or whatever, and done slipped up, whatever. You still living with your mama. She still living with her mama.
Yeah, both in
And now
high
all
school.
of a sudden, you still in school, and mama talking about you going off to this school, and her mama saying she going off to that school, and both are saying like y'all don't know if y'all even gonna be together. Y'all don't want to have this connection. Those are kids, So those are things that's on the ballot. Not only that, but look what we got on right now. We got these masks on. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and the current administration is it is in the courts right now. It is in the courts right now to abolish Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act is on the ballot right now. It is in there right now. So you put a new Supreme Court justice in it right now. To some extent, it don't even matter if Trump win or lose. The man has already appointed over 200 judges. This man done already filled the courts with people who are going to be there for the next 30, 40 years. This man just appointed, and she hasn't been confirmed yet. They got lifetime appointments. He just appointed somebody for the district court in Orlando. She hasn't been confirmed yet. She's 37 years old, bruh. 37 years old. That's, you're going to be dealing with her for the next 40 years. You're going to be dealing with her for the next 40 years. So we just got to be straight up. What is the new normal? What is the new normal? The new normal is, hey, like Teddy said, you're going to have to think twice before you put it in. A moment of satisfaction, you got to think twice because you ain't going to be able to just run to the clinic. You ain't going to be able to just run to Planned Parenthood. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to necessarily get them WIC benefits. You're not going to necessarily get Medicaid. All that stuff is on the ballot. We just spent, 2.7, and they trying to get another $2 trillion for this stimulus that's coming in. We're going to have to go to what's called austerity. So who's going to be at the bottom?
What's austerity?
Folks that's get austerity means that you're going to have to tighten up the purse. Austerity means
somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose.
Austerity, when you hear people talk about austerity, that means, sacrificing.
That's it.
You got to sacrifice. So
Amen.
we can't, we used to give you $600. Now we giving you $300. You used to get steak once a week. Now you're going to get steak once a year. You used to have lobster. Now you're going to have tuna fish.
Ramen noodles. You got ramen noodles for the rest of your life.
That's called austerity. It's like, hey, y'all, like my African professors used to say at Morehouse, you lazy Americans. You lazy Americans. All you worried about are grades. All you worried about is grades. Shout out my brother, Dr. Taki. All you worried about is your grades. Your grades. Who cares about grades? Who cares about grades? It's the knowledge. It's the knowledge. Say, dog, I'm trying to go to law school, and I can't put no knowledge on my, you know what I'm saying? I got to put a grade. I got to have a grade. I need a grade. And he was like, these exams, you guys talking about exams. He gave oral exams. And he gave them the whole week. So he's like, just choose your day. What day you want to come? I'm going to start exams Monday through Thursday. You just show up when you want to show up, and just come. That man was so brilliant. He's the brother that got me into Chinua Achebe. Ant Hills in the Savannah, No Longer at Ease, Things Fall Apart. This brother, man, we just come in there, man. It's just like going on an adventure, in
right
class.
now, for me, I feel like, there's a lot that's opened up. I mean, I remember when the stripper culture was like shunned upon, to the point where now the stripper culture is, it's there, it's almost an essential, to a degree because these girls still kept working. So there's certain things in morality that, really have to be looked at, but it really happens on that lower level, you know what I'm saying, on that, in the I ain't gonna say not just on the lower level, but that's where it gets complicated that, and everything at that point, it's a class system. You got a class of lower level strippers and you got a class of higher level strippers, that make more money. They're doing more things. They might have invested their money a little bit more better. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the strippers who's just getting started and they don't really, but it's the fact that these girls, this is what they're using as the means to make money, their bodies,
Right. I mean, what's that? What's $40?
What's the moral? What's the
$40?
morality?
What's the $40 culture?
Oh man,
The price done went down. I saw somebody say the price done went down from $150.
Yeah.
$150 used to be standard. Now it's $40
for 40 for 30 minutes.
$40. $40 you can. $40 you can be taken to the land of glad.
Yeah.
You can be taken to the land of glad for $40.
You come back with permanent luggage, syphilis, herpes.
You talking about the that economy, man. The economy, what things are, which brings us to, some of the other results. We look at this divorce that's going on between Dr. Dre and his wife. She just wrote a check, from the from Record One, which is his label that he started in 2015, for over $300,000. Wrote it to herself, bro. Wrote it to herself. Man, it's crazy. I mean, we was talking about Cardi B and Offset, the other day, but you look at Dr. Dre, who came up on those beats, became a billionaire, and his wife was there, all along, and supposedly had a prenup, and she's claiming that he ripped the prenup agreement up, which I don't advocate murder. But I mean I can understand. I can rationalize it. I can rationalize, if somebody feels that money is the be all end all of of a situation. If they see that money is a be-all, end-all of a situation, then, of course, when somebody's a threat to your money, then all logic and all rationale just goes out of your head. Like, you don't have a moral buoy. You don't have, a moral center. You just out there with the material wealth. This man growing up would have been happy to be a millionaire, would have been happy to be a thousandaire. So now you're a billionaire. Now all of a sudden this guy is fighting tooth and nail. Dang, that's you're fighting tooth and nail. Tooth and nail when you could just go in there and cash out. Go get you, man, just get me $5 million in cash. Put it in these suitcases and whatever, and I'm gonna go to this crib, I'm gonna go to Ghana, or I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna leave all that to y'all. That's what's about to start happening. That's what's about to start happening, because when you look at what's going on in the United States of America right now, and it's not starting to make sense, you cannot rationalize it anymore, because when people lie in 2016 and say, we would never do this, why would you do that? If you're a lamed up president, if you're in your last year, if there's an election coming up within the year, you should not do X, Y, and Z. And then turn around in 2016, like, we didn't hear you say that. Like, we wasn't already mad that y'all didn't give this black man who's the president the opportunity to do what every president has done before, and that is to appoint someone to the Supreme Court, to nominate someone to the Supreme Court, as you have the authority to do in Article 2 of the Constitution. The president has the right to appoint. So the first black president, y'all put the brakes on him. Oh, no. He can't do this. And then 4 years later, with all the tape, Lindsey Graham is on tape saying that, hold this tape, hold me to it. If he's in his last year and he does this, hold me to it. And they running commercials, they running ads, they running all this stuff or whatever. I did what I could do. I gave a donation to Jamie Harrison, who's running against him. They neck and neck in South Carolina. I just said, let me do that. And tomorrow, the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated are hosting a YouTube session that I'm encouraging everyone. It is open to the public. You don't have to be a member of the fraternity. It is open to the public. But you'll see, like, what I've been working on for the last 6 months. Every Sunday, 8 o'clock, we've been having these Zoom sessions to protect the vote.
That's the vote. That's what I saw that the other day with the lady on there. Yeah.
So we are. You see what I've been doing. I'm doing what I can. And we working with brothers all over the country, man. Some heavyweight brothers all over the country that we are, helping people no matter where you are. It's not just Florida. We're helping people wherever they are to protect their rights. You saw what happened on Friday in Virginia, in Fairfax County. In Fairfax County, Virginia, they had intimidation that was going on. Intimidation where you had folks showing up to the polls with all these banners and flags and Trump flags and banners, and it was right across from the people, and the folks felt they were being intimidated. Well, laws are different in each state. In some states, you can only be 30 feet away, or you have to be at least 30 feet away. In Virginia, where where this happened, where Newkirk is putting it on the screen, you had to be 100 feet away. So tomorrow, 7 o'clock, you guys join us on YouTube. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, you can ask specific questions about your state, if you're going to go to the poll. We are encouraging everybody who can vote to request their ballot. If you're in a state where you can request your ballot, request your ballot. It doesn't mean that you have to mail in your ballot. But what it does mean, if you request your ballot, you'll have your ballot, you'll be able to look over your ballot and do what I plan to do, which is once early voting begins, as soon as it begins, to take my ballot and go turn it in. That's what I did this past elect. Go turn it in, so you're not having to do already in Virginia, you're talking 2 to 3 hour waits. 2 to 3 hour waits. And then who's going to wait 2 to 3 hours with, folks over there doing this? 2 to 3 hours, you got people coming in there. It's like, look, man, you don't even know who I'm voting for. You don't even know who I'm registered to vote for. But y'all in here with all this nonsense, man. Protect the vote. So hopefully tomorrow, 7 o'clock, everybody can can come to the YouTube, man, because, we can't control what you can't control. Right now, the Republicans occupy the White House. The Republicans occupy the Senate. So if they decide to ram this new justice through the Supreme Court, you know what I mean? You can't do anything about that. But what you can do is you can vote, and you can vote overwhelming, and you can flip the Senate, from Republican to Democrat. Right now, the numbers are 53-47. So right now in Arizona, gentleman who's the astronaut that is married to Gabby Gifford, Mark Gifford, his wife Gabby, the congresswoman, was shot outside of Walmart giving a speech.
In Arizona.
In Arizona.
Right.
So her husband, the astronaut, he's in the lead over Martha McSally in Arizona. He's up pretty high. And that's a special election. That's for the John McCain vacated seat. So if he wins, then that'll bring the number down to 52 to 48. And you've already had Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska to say that they should not appoint or they should not vote on a Supreme Court nominee until after the election. So that brings it down to 51. Then you have Susan Collins of Maine. She's also come out. That takes it down to 50. And then we don't know what Mitt Romney's going to do. Mitt Romney's there.
Romney. Oh, wow. He's still doing something?
Yeah, Mitt Romney's a senator.
Oh, that's right.
Mitt Romney's been a senator from Utah. So Mitt Romney, you don't know what he's going to do. Corey Gardner, who's in a tough race out of Colorado. You know, and then we already know about Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham is just a spineless jellyfish. So what you can do is what I did, man. I went and voted or sent some money to Jamie Harrison, who's a black guy that's running against Lindsey Graham. And I'd be so happy when I can stop supporting these Democrats, because I do not like y'all Democrats, and I am a Republican, but it's just right now we got to restore some sense. Like a Jack Kemp. We need like the Jack Kemps to come back, the John McCains to come back. You know, we just need folks to come back instead of being these ideologues, man. Yeah. Like, it's just so crazy that you just find yourself going down the road with this guy. Like, remember your parents used to say, you know, when they didn't want you to follow certain people, certain friends, they say, hey, if they jumped over a bridge or they jumped off a bridge, would you jump off it? Like, these folks are all literally
jumping off the bridge,
and they throwing all their principles down because what they're doing is they're voting their self-interest. The evangelicals, they're coming out there and all this stuff. They don't care. They don't care about, you know, Christian beliefs and all the other stuff. They don't believe that Donald Trump is a good Christian. They don't believe that he fought, but they do know. And what he knows is that if I get him these judges, and when these judges come in there and they overturn Roe versus Wade, then what? Then what? That's the question. Then what? Then what? We're going to have all these babies start getting born, and y'all already mad that black and brown people are overpopulating.
That's the way I feel about it.
Black and brown people are overpopulating the country. So what are y'all gonna do? Like Hulk Hogan, what are you gonna do when the Hulk comes down on you? What are you gonna do when all these babies, kids, you know, are coming down on you? What you gonna do? So sometimes I'm like, you know what? Sometimes just give them what they want. Just give them what they want. Give them what they want.
It just has to be a setup where, like, you know, the community has to really come in to be a more I don't want to say government situation, but they got to have more of us. Like, that's what civil societies are coming in for. You need another alternative to help people that are disenfranchised. Because, you know, I was asking some ladies the other day, you know, they're pretty much 30, 40 years old, and they still believe that their vote doesn't count, you know. And that's the problem. It's like people really have in their mind that their vote doesn't count. And this is the majority of black people that just really, you know, some people are what they call, you know, conscious. You know, they don't want to be a part of the government. They don't want to, but it doesn't make a difference what you don't be a part of. We're in it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell everybody, you know, we're in this situation. So until something happens where we have autonomy or we get our own land, we got to deal with it. You know, so people need to really learn what is really going on. And I think it's the community's responsibility to bring these elements together so people can know. Like, if there's a town hall meeting, if there's something that people can really get educated on voting, because the bulk of people really just don't believe that their vote counts.
Well, tell it to you this way, my brother. You know, we at a 50% voter turnout right now. You know, 50%, bro.
That's terrible.
Which is horrible when, you know, the minority party is in power. We were talking about that with Iraq and the way Saddam Hussein and his Ba'athist party, they were the minority. When you talking about the Sunnis and the Shia, they were the minority. That's why that coalition didn't hold up, because we helped prop Hussein up. We helped prop up so many dictators. We propped up Gaddafi. We propped up
Saddam,
Mubarak in Egypt. You know, we propped up these dictators, and then because those dictators, they basically like, we getting $1 billion. We was giving them $1 billion a year. We was giving them $1 billion, a billion with a B. We was giving them $1 billion a year, which that's how Hosni Mubarak became one of the richest in the world. All these folks, off of the money from American taxpayers, dollars going over, all this money that's being sent over,
Through the
and
federal
they
government.
knew, you know what they did? Each one of them, what they knew is, in order to keep this money, this is the stuff we got to do that America, what they interested in. You know, anything that has to do with Russia that's trying to come in and get some info or whatever and trying to, you know, let us know so we could deal with that. Anything that has to do with, you know, terrorist threats to Israel, y'all let us know so we can handle that. But all the stuff that's going on within your country, as far as, you know, how you guys are brutalizing your people and not giving them rights, hey, that's y'all country. Y'all have sovereignty. So we'll let y'all do what y'all got to do. And a lot of people are mad at President Obama because President Obama's first speech, he went to Egypt. And when he went to Egypt, he basically, you ever heard the expression, the Arab Spring? The Arab Spring is what was the effect after President Obama spoke in Egypt, where basically all the people, like in Iran, like even in Iran, they started protesting. They took to the streets. They took to the streets in Yemen. They took to the streets in Egypt. They took to the streets throughout the Middle East, and they called it the Arab Spring because Obama, they thought Obama was basically saying, we got your back. We got your back. If you come up against all these dictators, we got your back. And so when they rose up against the people, we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. In Syria, President Obama said, if I find out that you guys are using chemical weapons on your own people, that's a red line. They found out. They went in, they verified, they had the video or the footage of the folks out there dying like fish out of water, bro. Babies and women. And President Obama didn't do anything. That's one of the things that Donald Trump ran on. He said, if I give a red line, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna bomb them. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. What ended up happening, President Obama made a deal where he allowed Russia to come in and broker a deal between the United States and Syria, wherein the gas and the chemical weapons that Russia would go in there, you know, very naive. We all, you know, Obama don't get a pass all the time here, but very naive, allowed Russia to go in there and supposedly take the chemical weapons out of there and issuing that. And the guy Assad is still running Syria and has allowed Syria to go in there and basically get rid of all the, you know, all the protesters, all the folks, man, destroyed the whole country. And President Obama did not lead on the issue. What he claims is that, well, he asked Congress. He took it back to Congress and asked them to vote on it, and all, like McCain and Graham and all the ones, you know, the hypocrisy, all the ones who was basically saying, you know, go in there and fight and do all that or whatever, all voted against it. They did not support him in going, you know, and using military tactics and action. You know, so that lets you know, man, you get what you get. Garbage in, garbage out.
That is correct.
And having said that, man, how we getting up out of here, bro?
Well, like you say, you know, there's joy and there's pain. That's what we're going through right
Frankie
now.
Beverly and Mays, get well, my brother. Frankie Beverly, yeah, he ain't doing so well.
It's sad we're losing a lot of our legends, and a lot of our legends are getting sick, and
Yeah, man.
it's terrible. R.I.P. Betty White.
R.I.P. Betty White, friend of the show.
Sometimes you see the ones that you